beloved friends of freedom, children of the sun, I come to you tonight with the flame of freedom blazing fully upon the altar of my own heart, so that I may kindle upon the altar of your heart the self-same God-identifying factor of electronic light essence that blazes upon the altar of my being. I am charged with this essence. I am manifesting this essence. I am this essence of cosmic and universal reality. When all of you concentrate together then upon the sacred force field or chakra of the heart, it will help to produce a manifestation of God awareness, which is the fullness of the cosmic intent for every man-child upon this planet and upon all planets in all systems of worlds. For there is a universal drama being enacted everywhere, and this drama is filled with the poignant manifestation of the love of God. This is a love of innocence, a love of purity, and a love of wholeness that enables the identity of man to become clothed upon with the majesty of the eternal robe of man's universal identity. Down through the ages, lesser images have formulated themselves in mortal consciousness and have caused individuals to constantly fear that they were falling short of the glory of God. Yet such was never the idea of the Eternal One. For your own beloved, mighty God presence, your God presence, I am, has ever held for you an inviolate image of cosmic light, which he has charged forth through all density of mortal creation, and has sought to bring you one and all into the family of universal identity, where you could then bask in the sunlight of your own flame of reality. A very important part of yourself, I am sure, but one that is far too frequently neglected, because individuals are often caught up in the strange miasma of the shadow self and do not understand the nature of the great blazing body of light substance that constitutes the real being of man. The real being of man is a configuration of such dazzling reality as to absolutely cause the soldiers guarding the tomb of the resurrected Christ to fall to their knees, to be blinded, to be unable to see the light of day for some time, because of the effulgent outpouring of light substance through his resurrected body. Consider then the potential of your own individual identity when you are able to grasp that principle of cosmic universal buoyancy that will bring you a feeling and release from all identification whatsoever with mortal substance, that will give you for all time a cosmic universal sense of the fire of the heart. For the heart of man, which has been referenced as being deceitfully wicked, is also a chalice of such exquisite beauty when it is filled with the manifestation of the eternal intent that man can scarcely realize the former state from the latter. When he comes to that beautiful position in cosmic reality where the Son of the eternal presence manifests the fullness of all that each man is. Will you then tonight, while I'm speaking to you, concentrate upon the heart center of your being? Will you for a moment forget your so-called native identity, identifying with this particular embodiment in time and space? And will you come apart from all identification with such conditions as those that are often unreal, and enter into the great blazing reality of that sun center of self, anchored within the force field of your beating, glorious heart of light? Will you tonight then understand with me that when you enter into that heart of light, when you commune with that eternal presence that is actually pulsing moment by moment the flames of universal reality into the very cosmic force field of real identity, you can find at last that you are not a physical body at all, but a real person, a soul identifying both now and always with God, with the power of God, with the love of God, and with the flame of freedom that God is. When that flame of freedom breathes and lives within your soul, the paltry treasures of mortal self become as nothing, and man sees that he has been as a serf groveling in the sands and dust of the earth without ever understanding the meaning of his immortal destiny. For destiny comes to man when he is able to yield at last that sovereign free will that he has treasured so often and so frequently, but has not really understood. For alas, down through the pageant of the ages that constitutes life upon earth, and individual life for each man, he has played his many parts, identifying with the gross as well as the ethereal. He has felt that each identification during the time of its enactment was a ritual of reality, but he has seldom understood that it had no part with the reality of God unless it identified with the reality of God. For we are now not speaking about temporal things, about the passing scene, but we are talking about the eternal verities of God that actually create the fires of the mind, that endow mankind with a sense of compassion for his fellow men, that enable him to evaluate life properly and to esteem the virtues of freedom for himself and all humanity. Think you then that the conditions manifesting upon this planet today are the will of the eternal? Think you that God desires to create worms, that God desires to create animals to tear and destroy one another viciously? Think you that God favors war and deceit and false judgment? Certainly this is not the activity of the eternal, but it is the activity that mankind has engaged in through the centuries, which is the compounding of that which individuals call history. We are come to flood forth to you all tonight the purity of his intent. Thou wilt not leave my soul in hell, nor suffer thine Holy One to see corruption. Understand then that each of you and every precious soul that God did ever form was, as you would say, in jeweler's art, 24-karat pure in its intent. God created men with the inward implanting of the cosmic seed that was intended to dispense to them throughout the entire period of their nativity and identification, through their novitiate, through their upbuilding and up to their mastery, the full reality of the blazing purposes of life, that they might not be lost in the wilderness of self and find there that they thirst for the waters of immortal reality. We say to you then, O everyone that thirsteth, come and drink. Come and buy wine and oil. Come and partake of the fountain of that reality that is within. And let your hearts be still from fear. There is no need to fear. In the stillness of the radiance of cosmic purpose within the domain of your own internal destiny, there is, in the eyes and intent of God, the plan to keep you in the spirit of the Christ alive forevermore. God has no intent to let the flame that lives in you now die, not only not now, but never. For he will not leave you in despair or comfortless. He will bring to you the radiant reality of himself. He will infuse this generation who will respond to him with the power of his love that will forever blaze forth into the world as daring achievement, as courage to do the right, as a sense of reality, as a sense of dazzling white raiment to be worn. The understanding then refreshed, the washing of this holy morn, stretching out to purify the world, will be a cleansing to the entire world. And this cleansing will be in the holy name of freedom. We would make of the family of nations a harmonized mode, a harmonized congregation, a harmonization of heart. For then all pain and sense of struggle will cease, and you can teach one another the divine art, the divine graces, and the face of cosmic universal good fortune will smile upon you with renewed impact. The glowing sun, the sacred fire of that reality will touch your soul, will infuse your mind, will sanctify anew a perfect generation in the never-failing light of God. And so I say to you, in freedom's name, be not afraid. For the mustering power, the power of intensification of the flame of purpose is within you. Activate it. Demand it. Call it forth from life. Invoke it. Refuse to remain glued to your seats, a part of a vain generation whose name is vanity. Instead, seize the burning brand that is held within the cupped torch and release thy being from fear and unbelief. For reality is born within, the reality that is the faith of eternal achievement. Draw nigh then unto the heart of your presence now, and let the glowing fire that burns upon the altar of being rise and be repulsed again and again by cosmic energy. Let that energy flow over the lip of the cup, and let it make of all of you, the many, one. Let it flow out into the world with fiery intensity. Let it hoist the banner of freedom high from every public building, from every tree, from the air that breathes the spirit of freedom. Let men learn once again to say, I am free, and to mean it. Let men learn once again to say, I am clean, and be it. Let men learn once again to say, I love, and mean it. Let men learn once again to say, I am one with thee, my Father, and see that it happens because they want it to. Let all generations call him blessed. Let the powers of the Christ multiply within the head, the hands, and the consecrated hearts that are the chelas who in this day shall not fail to exert those required efforts that will bring about a renewal of momentums upon the planetary body, that will cause the congregation of the Great White Brotherhood to once again be convoked at will, and to see to it that we once again can stand as directors of men and women who will understand the meaning of travail for a purpose. When this is done, I say to you that nothing shall stop this generation from moving forward to their divine destiny and finding at last the secrets of the ages concealed within the vital essence of the flames, within the point of contact in their own hearts. I, Sanctus Germanus, holy brother of the light, in the year of our Lord 1969, surrounded by the perils of men, say, the torch blazes on. The torch shall not go out. The torch shall live in you. I decree it so. In the name of God, I am. of